Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Welcome to episode 290 of the IT Career Energizer podcast. My guest on today's show is a technology and business strategist, as well as the President and CEO of Mindcore, the leading IT solutions provider in New Jersey. He specializes in working with business owners and management to fix business processes and technology problems using his process mastery formula. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the podcast Matt Rosenthal.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to speak with you. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
It should be, yes. Matt, can you maybe tell us a little bit about Mindcore and the work you're doing with the company?
Sure. So Mindcore's evolved so much over the years. It was started a long time ago, and I can't actually take credit for Mindcore as far as going back to the beginning. I started out with a small consulting company, and over time, my consulting company got larger. And as it grew, I ended up taking on some partners and doing some mergers and acquisitions. So Mindcore was born out of one of those deals. But for the past 10 years or so, I've been the head of Mindcore, CEO, president. Over the past few years, I've parted ways with all the partners, and I'm now the sole owner of the company. And we've evolved over those years from being an old school break fix operation to a cloud provider to a quote unquote managed service provider to who we really are now, which is a technology service provider. And that's like a higher level way for us to look at it. So we solve a variety of technology problems for pretty much any sort of business. Right. That's like a high level of who we are and what we do.
Right. Okay. And do you focus into any specific areas within that sort of consultancy?
We don't, although I've thought about it and we've kind of pursued that over the years. The reason is everybody that we deal with, every type of business that we deal with, they all kind of have the same problems, and we solve most of those problems with some version of similar solutions. So I find that most businesses are businesses. They have different services, but under the hood, they really have the same technology needs, other than, of course, some specialized software or something special. Like if you're a hedge fund, you might need something different for sure than if you're a doctor's office, but you still need the same basic foundation. So I kind of stopped looking for niches, and it's worked well for us. We've got a really good reputation as a service provider for any business who is sort of aligned in their thinking. As long as we think the same way about technology, then we'll work well together.
Yes, that makes sense. And presumably, if you do come across any specifics, you have relationships and contacts that can actually help you out if required.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. Been in the business for a long time. There's a lot of those types of relationships.
Yes. Good. Okay. Matt, can you share with us a career tip, one that the audience may not be aware of and perhaps should be?
I can share with you about 100, but I'll give you just one. This one is something that comes from my own experience, and as a technician early on, not a business owner, and as a business owner now, from having so many over the years different technical people coming and going, I would say put your ego aside. And I find frequently that people who are technical tend to be wonderful people, but oftentimes they think that they're right about whatever the issue is that they're working on. And when you put your ego aside and you focus on being a team player and collaborating and realizing that nobody knows everything, and frankly, nobody cares if you think you know everything, it's more important that you're somebody that actually delivers value by being a team player. You'll find that you'll solve problems quicker. It'll be a more pleasant experience. And whether it's an end user or a coworker or whoever the person is, or whatever the solution is about or who it's for, the whole thing feels a lot better. And you're looked at in a much more positive manner if you can check your ego at the door. As I like to say at the beginning of most of my meetings with my engineers, check your ego at the door. Nobody cares. Be a team player.
Indeed. Yeah. And presumably that very much from your perspective as a consultant or as a consultancy, the most important thing to you is making sure that your customers' problems are resolved and that they're happy with the outcome.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what's more important than we're in the business to serve other people, and for those people to feel good in the process. I mean, we're going to solve the problems, but it's how it happens is also important. So if you're ego driven and you go and you think you've just got the answer and you go down some rabbit hole that wastes 2 or 3 days versus stepping back and like considering things that you might not even see because they're in your blind spots. Well, that happens when you collaborate. So it impacts the customer. So we want to solve problems as fast as we can, but with the best solutions. And it requires realizing that you got to be a team player.
Yes, exactly. Good. Okay. Matt, can you tell us about your worst IT career moments and what you learned from that experience?
Well, my worst moment. Well, I probably had a lot of worst moments over the years, but one of the moments that sticks out in my mind is, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. There's an empty feeling you get when you no longer have a job, and me like many people, it had to happen many times. I at one point had a great job working in New York City, a high level job in IT, had like 35 people reporting to me. Well, at that same time, as is the case with I think many people in the IT business, I had some side gigs going on. Now it's more accepted is that this whole like sort of gig culture, but that it wasn't like that in the late '90s, early 2000s. So my employer had found out that I had some side gigs going on. I don't know how. I don't even know why it mattered, but I knew that they were probably going to let me go, regardless of the fact that they considered me a rising star in this $2 billion company. So I quit. I actually quit the job because I didn't want to have any sort of stain on my own record, so to speak, where I was ever fired. So I quit. I left, and I remember walking out of the building, and the empty feeling of like, wow, okay, I have no income anymore. I'm married. I have a child on the way, and I have no income other than my side business. So I better go make the side business work. So there's a happy ending to the story, which was that the side business that I'm talking about is a present incarnation of Mindcore. I mean, if I didn't have that happen, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now.
Indeed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, just going back to the point about employment contracts in particular, I think it was pretty much um, standard at the time that it would typically be written into a contract that you couldn't do additional work outside of the company that you were contracted for employment to. I presume that was the same with the US.
It probably was in there. It never got that far, but I'm sure I'm sure it was in there. Isn't it funny though how now it's like at least here in the U.S. I think it's part of the culture. Like you're supposed to have side gigs or the side hustle, I guess that this the generation calls it. I'm sure everybody that works for me in my company, I don't ask them. I just assume they all have a side hustle, and it doesn't matter to me as long as they're impacting our customers and they're showing up and giving it their best every day. What do I care? Make as much as you can, enjoy.
Good. Okay, Matt, can you tell us about your career highlight?
Uh, I think I've had a lot of really high highs and some low lows. Um, I think that for me, what feels the best is not necessarily a technical highlight, but I get the most thrill out of the feeling that you get when you help other people. I mean, I was a volunteer fireman for like 15 years, working for nothing and just giving that because you want that feeling you get when somebody is being helped. So for me, I've had many companies that I've helped start them from the ground up, at least for me, technology wise. And there's one company that comes to mind who is still one of my largest customers. They right now are one of the largest PR companies in the U.S. And I started there when they went into business. I helped them, and I built their infrastructure from the ground up. They only had a few employees. It was a very well known publicist, nationally known publicist, who left a large company to start her own thing. And through a whole other separate story, that's for a different call, she found her way to me and said, "Can you help me get this thing going with the IT?" And what I was able to watch was little by little by little, her build that business and expand 10 employees, 20, 30, 50, 80, 100. And I was able to be there to ensure that she never had to think about her technology. And I was the strategic advisor that she needed. I knew where the business was going. I was, maybe we talked about it a lot. I knew what they were trying to achieve. I knew how big they were trying to build it. And I was there the whole way to watch her and her partners build this company. Those are highlights for me because they might not look at it like we couldn't have done it without Matt and his company. I know that they couldn't have because they needed what we did to create the foundation for them to have back in the day their Blackberries working while they were at the what are the movie awards, the Grammys or the Emmys, whatever the movie awards are, the Oscars. So that's very fulfilling for me because I know underneath the hood, it's like you have a race car and the race car wins the race, but the mechanics behind the scenes don't get the recognition. Well, we built the car from the ground up, and that's why they're winning the race. One of the reasons. So that's very fulfilling for me. And they were actually purchased by a public company, and now that public company is my customer, and they've got 6 other companies that are underneath their their umbrella. So it's that whole story is still going on, it's still growing.
Yep. Matt, what excites you about the future of the IT industry and careers in this particular sector?
What excites me is the fact that there's always an evolution, there's always a transformation, there's always change. I'm not normal in that way. Like I don't run away from change. I love change, and I thrive on it. It's like an adrenaline rush for me. So what I've loved is the fact that every couple of years you got to learn. You have to learn something new. You have not just a technical skill, but especially as a business owner, you have to learn how to stay just ahead of the curve. Uh, so I got into cloud before any consultants like me were getting into cloud. There were only a few, and that became a commodity. And then I got into managed services before it was like a term that everybody uses now as a disposable term for IT companies. And so I enjoy that. And for now the evolution is when I give presentations, I call it the 3 C's: cloud, cybersecurity, and collaboration tools. That I was starting that before COVID hit, but now because of COVID, it's everybody's talking about and asking about those 3 C's. So for us, it's just another evolution, And so I love the fact that if you don't stay sharp and if you don't stay ahead of the curve, you won't survive in this business. And to me, that's a never-ending source of adrenaline and inspiration. I love it.
Indeed. Yeah. So what's on your radar now? Is there anything new coming up?
Well, it's actually what I just had mentioned is we're in the early stages of that, even though it might not seem like it. We are in the early stages of cybersecurity, collaboration tools really being adopted and leveraged and used like to their fullest extent in businesses. And cloud, I mean, cloud's been around and it's an old term, but it's really not been adopted yet the way that it should be. There's a long life cycle ahead of us for cloud. So what we do is we roll it all into one. So our solution and the solutions that we provide are all 3 of those C's kind of wrapped together. So it's fun, and we have years ahead of us with that. What we're doing now, the other piece of it is I never got involved in the phone business. I had no interest in being involved in telephones. In fact, I've had over the years some really good, strong partners that I've always given the telephone business over to. And now with Microsoft phones running through Office 365, I just signed a deal with a large phone provider. There's nobody in between us. I'm working directly with the provider, and we're going directly to the market with Microsoft phone systems. So there's going to be a huge push for me this year. It's already in progress with that solution because it's one overall unified communication solution. Now it's everything. It's all 3 C's. And as far as collaboration tools, well, your phone is Teams, and Teams is your phone, Microsoft Teams. So we're having a lot of fun with that. And every client that I have as an existing client wants it. So we're doing tons of Teams rollouts in the cloud. And as far as my social media and my own marketing and my own podcast, I mean, there's a lot of activity coming up in Q2, 3, and 4 of this year. So in case you can't hear it in my voice, I'm having fun with it. It's a lot of fun.
Good. Well, it sounds like you've got plenty on your plate and lots to look forward to.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's good times. It's fun, and I hate to say it's good times because it's right now. It's not socially acceptable to say that you're doing well, that it's good times. But I'm proud of the fact that I've built and run a really good, healthy business that has made it through this whole experience the past year, and we're actually stronger now than we were when we entered it a year ago.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
You know,
Definitely. Okay, we're going to go into the reveal round now. We're going to find out a little bit more about you and the way you think. Are you ready for this?
sure.
So, what first attracted you to a career in IT?
I fell into it. I didn't know anything about computers. I had an opportunity to make some money, and I jumped at
Yeah.
it. I didn't even know what it was, but once I got in, I loved it.
Yeah. What is the best career advice you've ever received?
Attitude is everything, and it's the truth. You have a positive attitude. More important than knowing your technology. Have a positive attitude.
Yes. And what is the worst career advice you've ever received?
Hurry up and get it done.
Yeah.
Because you can't rush through things. You gotta stop and think and make sure that you're doing it right. And if you hurry up and get it done, you'll end up doing it 5 more times.
Yeah. If you were to begin your career again in today's world, what would you do?
Ready for this one? I would learn sales.
Yeah.
I would learn sales because everybody is always selling everything. And when you're doing IT support, it doesn't matter whether you fix the problem or if you anything in technology. When you're dealing with people, it doesn't matter if you solve somebody's problem right now or not. What matters is how they feel and how you feel and how the interaction goes. And you have to understand other people and their emotions, and that's sales.
Yeah. Do you count marketing as part of that, or is that distinctly different?
I, I look at it as, I mean, they're connected, but marketing is a different set of emotional processes. Sales is convincing somebody else to go along with your line of thinking, and not in a manipulative way. You're trying to get your beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings across to somebody because you want them to agree with you. Well, if I'm trying to solve a problem for you and it's not going well and it's taking an hour longer than it should, if I can maintain your emotional state in a good positive place while I'm doing the work and I'm aware of that, I'm still doing a sales job. I'm still keeping you thinking what I want you to think while I'm trying to solve your problem so that you're not having a bad experience. It's sales.
Yes. And what career objectives are you currently focusing on?
Personally, I'm focusing on growth, obviously, personal growth, learning more, advancing my own skill set, and obviously financially, growing the company. I'm very dedicated to the people that work in my company. I consider them my work family, and I feel responsibility to them, to their own families, for their medical insurance and their salaries and their roofs over their heads. So for me, it's growth in all of those ways.
Yeah. That makes absolute sense, definitely. And what's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career so far?
Emotional IQ, emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number one, most important skill, I think, it goes back to taking sales to the next level. It's emotional intelligence. It'll serve you well.
It will. And what do you do to keep your own career energized?
I happen to be a very driven person naturally, and I have a tremendous amount of curiosity, and like there's just sort of no end to how far I can take things. So what I do is I just make sure that I remain goal oriented and that I don't just have goals, because goals without actions are nothing more than a dream. So I make sure that I actually attach actions to every single thing that I do, and I hold myself accountable. But not only that, I actually have other people that are coaches to me who I make sure I have around me to hold me accountable. Otherwise, who's going to hold me accountable? I own the company, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And what do you do in your spare time away from technology?
I am really focused on my family, which, by the way, for 10 years, up until about 2 years ago, I was so driven. I was only focused on building a business. So I'm very focused now on my family. Number one, my wife and my children are come before anything else. And then second, so I spend a lot of time nurturing those relationships now, and I make sure to set aside time, and I even block it out in my calendar so that I'm away from the business and away from technology. A lot of time on physical fitness. probably work out like 4 or 5 days a week. You'll get a kick out of this. I live in South Florida, which is southern United States. So it's warm all year round. So I probably spend 3 or 4 hours a day on the phone. I walk. So I'm walking like some 7 to 10 miles a day while I'm on my phone calls. So that's been interesting. So I have a very active lifestyle. I focus a lot on my mindset. I'm a believer that your mindset is within your control. So I focus a lot on really good, happy, positive mindset, personal growth, and it's kind of all gets jumbled together. It's all one and the same. They all kind of touch each other.
Yeah.
I play golf. I do enjoy playing golf.
Yes. I did wonder, being in Florida.
Yeah. I only moved here 2 years ago. So I lived in New Jersey for 46 years. So there was no golf in the middle of the winter. They're getting killed with snow this year. But I play golf now. It's fun.
Yes. And Matt, can you share with us a parting piece of career advice?
Don't be afraid to pivot. What I mean by that is don't get so committed to an idea or a belief that you it's like buying a stock and you think it's going to go up, but it keeps going down, and you think if you keep buying more of it on the way down, you'll be okay. All you're doing is chasing it down. At some point, you have to say, okay, bad choice. Let me make a better choice. You have to put this fear aside, and you need to be able to cut your losses when you need to and pivot. Now, it might be that you wanted to be a network engineer, and maybe now it's a better idea for you to pivot into being somebody who's more involved in the sales support side, or maybe you changing careers completely, or you're going to solve a problem a certain way, and you realize, okay, my customer's been down for 3 hours. Maybe I should go a different way. It doesn't matter. Being able to recognize when it's time to stop what you're doing, take a account and pivot.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah. And Matt, how can we find out more about you and connect with you?
So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn, and it's my name. It's Matt, M-A-T-T, Rosenthal, and Mindcore. So if you search Matt Rosenthal Mindcore, you can find me there. Definitely send me a message. I'll get back to you. You can find us on our website, or find me on our company website, which is www.mind-core.com. My favorite place for people to find me is on YouTube. So if you look me up with the same name, same business name on YouTube, I probably at this point have 100 videos on there, and there's probably 100 more coming in the next couple of months. It's a tremendous library. It's career, it's life, it's health. I've made a lot of lessons. I have a lot of mistakes in my life, and so there's a lot of valuable information I have to share as a true entrepreneur. And so it's a good place to go learn about me, but you know what? You'll get some good information. It might just make you think about your own choices. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. I recommend just going there to look at it. Just check it out.
Great. Yeah. So all those links will be on the show notes page on the website. So if you want to go and have a look, Matt's information, his YouTube channel, just visit the website and you can find the links. Matt, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
I had a great time. You asked great questions. Thank you.
My thanks to Matt for being the featured guest on this week's episode. If you head over to the IT Career Energizer website, you can find the show notes page that relates to this particular episode, where you'll find the links to Matt's social media profiles and to his Mindcore website. And make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast to make sure that you get episodes automatically downloaded every week. And why not reach out to me? If you've got any questions about the show or simply want to connect, you can do so on Twitter or LinkedIn, or even better, why not come and find me on Clubhouse? So thanks for listening into this week's episode, and have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.